Welcome to today's podcast. I've got an inspirational guest. I'm really excited to share with you a fascinating story of someone who's come from a completely different country to a new town, who's had no estate agency experience, but is getting some amazing results in his first 6 months. Welcome, Damion Merry.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us today. You've got a fascinating story. Do you want to tell us how it all started and how you became a self-employed estate agent in the UK?
Yeah, sure. So I was in California for 8 years running my own luxury gazebo company where we'd sell gazebos $50,000 to $100,000 for people's back gardens. Really enjoyed my time over there. I was on a big TV show similar to Dragon's Den where we got investors in and, just had a great journey. But 7 years in, my wife said to me, we've been here for quite a while. She's from the UK as well. We've got 3 little girls. She missed her family, and she said to me, Damion, I want to eventually go back to the UK. You said to me it might be 5 years, maybe 6, but now it's 7 or 8. I said, no, I completely agree. I do want to go back eventually, but my business was it was doing well. And then something happened over in the US. It was a bit of a tragic one. There was a bit of a terrorist attack over there, and that was a sort of the moment, because it was a mass shooting. It was terrible. It was all over the TV, and it was that moment when I said to my wife, I was like, right, Daniela, that's it. We have to make the move. I don't know what we're going to do. I don't know where we're going to go. I don't know whether we stay in America, we go to the UK. I don't know what we do, but we need to make the move. So we sat down and we said, how are we going to do this? And it was a case of selling what I can in the US, bringing some cash back to the UK, and basically figuring it out. Because I knew if I could start that business in America from nothing, I can take on something new, whatever that is. And I think 6 months prior to me coming back, I was on the job sites and, what careers for me and Googling all this different stuff. Like no idea what I was going to do. My only experience for 8 years in the US was construction, and 7 years prior to that in the UK was a similar business. So selling gazebos basically.
Yeah.
And then I stumbled across Fine and Country on one of these job sites. It was, work in the Midlands. And I thought, okay. And I like the name. I like the name Fine and Country. So I did a bit more digging into it. And then I came across you and I sent you an email direct. And I think 2 days later, you got in touch and we had a similar conversation. What's your journey? What have you been doing? And I explained what I am doing, but I'm not an estate agent. I have no experience in estate agency, but something about the business model it's kind of drawn me in to reach out to you. And I think I remember saying to you, I might not be of any interest to you, but this is my name, this is my number, this is my details. And then I think, 2 days later, you reached out to me.
Yeah. So at that point, you obviously decided you want to investigate this model of estate agency. So this was a self-employed estate agency model. Were you familiar with estate agency, the industry, as in like you could be an employee somewhere, or was this all new to you? Or
to be honest, I had no idea self-employed estate agency even existed.
Right.
I had quite a few real estate friends in the US. My best friend came to work for me for 5 or 6 years, and his passion was real estate. So he eventually got into that.
Yeah.
And I saw him really, really flourishing, and within a couple of years, and nice cars, and a lot of people were thinking, they took him really seriously being a real estate agent. I was thinking in my head, back in the UK, estate agents that I've met and the perception of estate agents, is not the same in the US.
Yeah.
But spending a lot of time with him and seeing the video productions and how far they pushed estate agency or real estate agency over there. They were considered true professionals. And I think I saw on your advert that you weren't necessarily looking for estate agents. It was more entrepreneur kind of people, and that's what I was, because I built something from nothing up to a £3-4 million a year business.
Yeah.
And that's what struck me, because I didn't want to leave California to go and work in an office with a typical estate agency role that I thought was in the UK. But then your advert, I thought self-employed, you can earn 100K plus a year was on the advert. You're kind of in charge of your own destiny. And I like that because that's what I did in the US. So I thought, okay, your advert's basically saying you can earn as much as you really want to, as hard as you work is what you can earn. So that's what drew me into having that conversation with you. And I think straight away we had a good connection between us. And I said, I was pretty honest from the outset. I have nothing to offer estate agency wise, but I'm a hard worker and I can get things done.
So I just wondered, this is a big step going from a different country to, so you're going to a new country, moving to a new town where you don't know anybody, you've got no industry experience. How did you feel about this? Did you have reservations, concerns? Tell me how you felt about this big move.
I was very nervous, and I think there was options of moving to Rugby or Northampton or Warwickshire or Oxfordshire. So there was all these options of locations. And I think when I talked to you, I said, my in-laws live in Berkshire, so I need to be somewhere close to that because that's one of the main points I want to come back. And obviously with everything that's happened over the past couple of years with lockdown and everything, to me, it made sense that Oxford would be a good place because people want to get out of London, because the big cities and the pandemic sort of driving people out of the city. So I thought Oxford would make sense. And, moving from California to Oxford, it's kind of a nice transition, and it just made sense to me. But yeah, I have no connections to Oxford. It's not like I could just move there and say, oh, hi, John, can I sell your house just to get me started? No family there, no connections, no idea where I was even going to live. And I knew that I had to become the local expert of wherever I lived, but I literally was going with it. No knowledge, no experience on the area, no connections, basically just chatting with you, knowing how hard I can work and pretty much hoping for the best.
Yeah. So that's a massive step. And I know there's probably estate agents out there who are maybe in an employed role in their town, who've been working in that town for a number of years and are thinking about taking the self-employed route, but have still got some concerns, even though they've had estate agency experience, even though they've worked in a town for a few years, and they've obviously got some concerns and reservations. And for you to do it from another country to a new town with not knowing anyone and no experience is a massive step. So I just want to sort of understand how did you make that decision? I mean, did you have any plan B? Did you have any other jobs that you were considering?
There was no plan B, honestly, but I think that's kind of my nature. Sort of, when I met my wife, I knew straight away with her, we were going to get married. That was the one for me. When I did my business in California, we had times where there was 3 of us living in a little caravan, basically, for about a year and a half, with a workshop just opposite. But we said to each other, we're going to make this work. And we did. We TV shows and selling things for like $100,000 regularly. Clients like Mark Zuckerberg, I took it from here to here, but that was just by pure determinations. And I think when I chatted with you and this kind of idea of this business model, I didn't even look, but obviously it was a huge gamble, but once I'm in, and I was just sort of so driven and so focused on making it work. Obviously I've got my wife, 3 girls. My wife can't work because she's looking after the kids. So it's not like there is a second choice. It's, I sort of took it and I just went for it. And, that was 7 months ago with no experience. So if there are people out there who have got experience, you're 20 steps ahead of me. So there's no excuse. If I can do it with nothing, with not even knowledge, I remember going to having first conversation with somebody and they were discussing about chains and everything. I was thinking, chain? What's a chain? And I was thinking, I have no right to do this job because I don't know anything about it. So, YouTube and Google, you can kind of teach your way through. And then obviously there's a lot of people I can reach out to you. And I think I was on the phone to you probably every day. Well, still am, always asking advice. But what I've learned from being in America and from being in the UK is you don't necessarily need to be an estate agent to succeed in this career.
Right. Okay, well, we'll come back to that in a second, but this is an interesting thing. You mentioned that if someone's had experience as an estate agent, they're probably 20 steps ahead of you. There is an argument to say that because the industry has changed so much and estate agencies is evolving, that by having no experience and literally everything you learned was probably the new way. I mean, the stuff that you do, as far as you're concerned, that's how you do it. That's estate agency. And I think having a bit of background of America as well, where the estate agents or real estate agents are respected and are considered as professionals and get paid well, they're 5 and 6% fees, driving nice cars and proper, marketing experts. You probably thought, well, that's what I've got to do. So you obviously did a bit of, you didn't have any baggage, as I call it, or bad habits, should I say, is probably a better way, of doing things old-fashioned ways. You were just doing the new ways of what you were taught, and whether that was from me or from other places. So I think you could argue that's an advantage, that you just went with what I would say one of the things that you've done is you've learned, and one of our core values is learning, and I think I've said this before, or certainly Tony Robbins has said this before, if you want to be successful in any area of your life, find someone who's getting the results that you want and then model them and copy them. And I know you've been following Ryan Serhant in America, listening to Tom Panos, from a social media point of view, listening to Gary Vee. You spent some time listening and learning, and that's important, but also the key to all of that is implementing. You've just not just listened and learned it, you've actually done it. So you landed in Oxford. You said, right, I'm ready to go. Normally when someone joined us, we have like a 4 or 5 day induction course. With COVID, we didn't have that. So you're literally on your own. Obviously we're talking on Zoom and calls, and you've got people you can talk to, but how did you start learning, and how did you feel on like day one? Tell me the good and the bad,
So my last 2 weeks in America was basically just packing up my house and getting ready to go. So all my business had been wrapped up there. My wife was already back in the UK with the kids. She came back early. Yeah. So I dedicated that 2 weeks to literally watch every Gary Vee video, every Ryan Serhant video. I looked for UK estate agency kind of, agents that do similar to what they do, and I couldn't find it. So I was and being in California, I kind of was used to the American way of, doing things. But Gary Vee, on one of his videos that I watched, he said, I can't wait for the day that some young kid comes in and destroys the industry with no knowledge, but just uses purely social media to create that, celebrity agent, not trying to be a celebrity, but, trying to have that, people see you in your town as being, that's the go-to guy, because he does videos on the towns, he does videos on the villages, the houses, where to eat, where to drink, the top 20 streets, and all of this stuff. I was kind of drilling it into myself for the last 2 weeks, and I was writing every single thing down, and I had a folder by the end of it, probably 8 inches thick, of just notes from all of those, Tom Panos, Gary Vee, and I was studying it, and on the plane over, I was studying it. And I said to my wife, I said, I'm going to land in England and it's going to change because I'm used to this American way. Do not ever let me forget this folder of stuff that I've studied. And whatever I do not ever let me not do social media every single day, like Gary Vee said. Because he's always said social media every single day. Give. And eventually something will come back. And I said it to my wife, do not ever let me forget this. I said, I'll bribe me or whatever. Just make sure I do not ever forget this. And she was like, okay. And the folder's still there. It's in my office at home. And every 3 weeks I'll look through it. But yeah, when I landed, I thought, what do I do? And I was in the quarantine for 2 weeks, and I was itching to get out there and have my boxes of magazines, and I had all these ideas and my social media. And I was thinking, right, just take your time, just set up all of the social media pages, create a presence, and just start. And that's what Gary Vee says. He just said, just start.
Yeah.
You might have a mediocre video, but a mediocre video is better than nothing, because nobody's going to see you. Nobody's just going to stumble across you in the street and think, oh, there's Damion, the estate agent in Oxford. Nobody knows that. Yeah. So I just created my my social media channels. And then I just started, after the quarantine came out, I just started pushing very hard, 10, 12 hours a day, every single day, knocking on people's doors, giving them Refined magazine, introducing them, making videos, buying a cheap tripod, cheap microphone, using my iPhone, just putting it up, plonk it up in the middle of the street. Behind me is the top 20 streets. Number 20 on my top 20 streets of Oxford. Got 15 detached houses. Average goes for 600. Just educating people. Yeah. But at the same time, and then I was also doing videos, and I still do them now.
Well, let's come back to that later on, what you're doing.
Yeah.
But I just want to sort of just go back to sort of the sort of journey of so obviously you were in America, you've come to England, it's day one. How did you feel when you first started? Were there any nerves? Were there any? I'm just thinking like what other people would think about if they were in your shoes. So what was the journey like from day one to now? It's probably just over 6 months, nearly 7 months now. How's that journey been? Not necessarily what you've done, but how you've felt. What were from day one, tell me what your hopes were, what your dreams were, and where we are today and how it's panned out.
Well, I look at a lot of other agents in the UK with Newman's and Fine & Country, and I sort of knew what they would say, maybe get a couple of listings in the first 6 months. A lot of the videos said self-employed, don't expect to earn anything for the first 6 months. So in my head, my heart of hearts, I thought, if I can get 2 or 3 listings in the first 6 months, that'll be sensational. Maybe a 5-10 grand fee per one. If I can get 30 grand in the first year, honestly, it's my thought. 30 grand in the first year, I can afford to rent a place. I can afford to feed my kids and my wife, whatever. And that was the goal. So the last 6 months has been up and down. There's been, the first day I was itching to go. I was so hyped up and ready and just so driven. And then I was thinking, right, actually, what the hell am I going to do? What do I even do then? What do I do? I'm here. I've thrown away 8 years of everything in California. How the hell do I do this? And I was sort of sat there, sort of tapping my legs and thinking, I have no idea. So then I just, as I said, did my social media, started just to create a bit of a presence for myself. And the journey's been up and down very quickly. I got a £2 million listing just from somebody that called in. So it wasn't necessarily from my hard work. Somebody called in, Fine & Country, come and value a house. And I gave this great talk about what we can do. And then they started asking me some questions and I was thinking, oh my God, I don't even know the answer. But we had a great rapport and they really saw that I was very passionate, very proactive, told them about America, told them about what I've learned and how it works over there and how I can adopt that over here. And I got the listing. It was great. It was like it was a 2% plus VAT, whatever it was. So it was like a 40, 50 grand fee. I was thinking, okay, this is it. Easy, done. 2 minutes, done. This is brilliant. I'm going to make it. I'm going to smash it. 2 days later, hi, Damion, we've had a change of heart. We don't want to sell a house anymore. They said you were so passionate about a house, you actually made us not want to leave. I was like, you are kidding me. So everything went down the drain. But again, going back to the US, my first gazebo I sold for $30,000. A week later, they cancelled. So it's like, I'm kind of used to this. And it almost had to happen for me to not think you can just step in off the plane, bang, there you go. There's a 30, 40 grand fee or whatever it is. So that was pretty full on that first week. So it was the highs and lows straight away from the first one. I've had quite a few things happen. I mean, I had another one not so long ago pull out 2 days before exchange, the actual seller. So there's been all these highs and lows. I think a few months in, I actually was not contemplated quitting, but I was speaking to a lot of other agents that have done this model and said, have you felt how I'm feeling right now? Because I'm pushing and pushing and pushing and getting nothing back. You've said to me, Terry said to me, Marie said to me, so many people just saying, just keep going because it's going to happen. And everybody said, look, we can see you're doing it and it's going to happen, but you have to keep pushing. And there was a point, didn't want to give up, but I was like, something's not right. But then things start to happen. The phone starts to go, hi, Damion, we've received your letter. Hi, Damion, seen your videos. And I was thinking, okay. And then suddenly got a couple of listings. I think the first solid one was at $1.5 million. And I sat down with a couple and they said, we've had Knight Frank out, we've had Savills out, our house has been on the market for 6 months. Why should we choose you? What experience do you have? Can you give us testimonials? Can you give us referrals? And I was like, I'm not going to start my career by lying to these people. And I could probably pull out a referral from someone, but I said, do you know what? I said, I'm new to this. You're going to have to trust me, but nobody is going to give as much as I'm going to give to your property. And they said, you know what, Damion, we love that. And they said, yeah, sign us up. And that was at $1.5 million. And they were on for 6 months and I sold it within a few weeks at full price. They gave me glowing reviews. The sold board went up, 3 doors up. They call me, Damion, we've been struggling to sell a house. If you've sold that one, you definitely need to come and chat with us. Sold their house full price. And then things started to escalate a little bit. And then I got another listing, but they backed out. So it was kind of highs and lows, highs and lows. But if we're to really fast forward to where I am now, today I got another listing, which is great. But I think I'm on 17 listings now in 6.5 months. Lots of ups and downs, a few tears, a few, worried moments, a few awkward conversations with my wife. But now it's at that point where I'm a big advocate for this business model, and it suits my personality definitely, because I can definitely see the more you put in, the harder you work.
Yeah.
If you want to earn 60 grand a year, this could be a good model. If you want to earn 80 grand a year, this could be a good model. If you want to earn 200, 300,000, it's all possible with this model. And I don't, from what I've heard, I don't think that's really possible with a normal high street estate agency, because even the Knight Franks and the Savills of the world, I'm hearing, you know, nice little salary, but then 100, 200 pound commission. It's like, how do you make the big money from doing that? But this model, I can see the huge potential in this model. And if I can do it from no knowledge and no experience, and there's people out there with experience, anybody can do it. If I can do it, anybody can do it. And now I'm starting to see, you know, I'm starting to hit different points of, you know, I've just got a £5.5 million listing, £4.5 million, 4 or 5, £2.5 million, a £3 million one's just gone live today. And it's like, yesterday I stood back and look at all these videos and look at the brochures, and I thought, that's a lot of hard work that has gone into that. But I put all of the brochures out on the table, and I thought, do you know what? You deserve that, because you work hard for that.
Yeah.
And the hard work you put in the first 3-4 months definitely pays off.
Yeah. And there were definitely some wobbly moments when you'd be ringing me saying, Sean, I'm doing everything you say and it's not working, you know, and I remember the conversations, just, you know, follow the process, and you know from previous experience about the process, and if you follow the process, and the nice thing is that I've got a proven strategy, you know, and if you follow the process, follow the strategy, just do the things that you need to do, the results will follow. It's all about doing the activity. And if you do that activity, you know, and I could see from what you were doing, it was just a matter of time. And I hopefully gave you that confidence and belief in yourself, because I could see what you were doing. And, you know, I knew the rewards were going to come for you. And obviously there was times when you went, I'm just not sure about that. But now looking back, you know, or even looking forward, you know, to the future, tell me how you feel now compared to sort of the starting point 6 months ago or 3 months ago. How has that changed, and what's your life like? You know, is it work? I know you work very hard, but and you know you've put a lot of effort into starting a new business, and I think it's fair to say that the hardest bit is the first 6 months.
Definitely. And
you've worked very, very hard, but tell me about how you felt, you know, in month 1, month 3, month 6, what's changed, and your own belief in your own ability, because obviously at day 1 there was a lot of doubt, I guess, and where are you now, and how do you feel about it?
Well, the confidence I've got now going into somebody's house and saying, and them saying, you know, how long have you been an estate agent? And even the listing I got today, I said, this may sound strange, but you don't need an estate agent to sell your house. You've got solicitors, surveyors, or, you know, all the paperwork, all the legalities is done by other people. You need somebody who's going to proactively not sit and wait for the phone to ring. They're going to find buyers. They're going to market the property the way it deserves, the way you deserve as a client. You know, if you're paying money up front, you deserve to have somebody that's going to work hard for you. And now the confidence going in, and, you know, at the beginning I was trying to say, you know, I'm an estate agent, this is what I'm going, and now I'm walking in saying, no, I'm not an estate agent. So it's completely the opposite way of what I should be doing. But people actually like that. And I think that comes back to how a lot of people think about most estate agents. And that's no disrespect to estate agents over here. It's just obviously the way it's been for the last 30, 40 years. But from what I've seen in the US to how estate agents are in the UK, they're worlds apart. And that's no disrespect, again, to any estate agents in the UK. It's just a lot of people in the UK don't want to be on camera. They don't want to do videos. They don't want to hand deliver magazines on Christmas Eve and Boxing Day and snow. They don't want to do that kind of thing. And I think what I've learned over this last 6 months is this model probably isn't for everybody. You've got to work harder than you've ever probably worked before. You've got to push yourself physically and mentally to dark places almost. But then you've also got to ask your mentors for advice. And I think with Fine & Country and Newman's is a good group of people. Like I did my first day at the polo club with all the other fine and country associates, and I expected it to be relatively competitive, and I'm sure there is between a few people, but like everybody was passionate and everybody was there for the same reason. Everybody's always there to help. And I don't think I would be here. Well, so the success I've had over the last 6 months, obviously it's a lot down to how hard I've worked, but also the advice I've got from you, Jim, from Marie, from Terry, as funny as he is. I mean, he helps me no end. And the videos that I watch and the training, even though I couldn't physically have one-on-one training, the videos were very helpful. So as I said, you've got to be prepared to work as hard as you possibly can, but the rewards are unbelievable.
Yeah.
You know, what I think I can earn now is, you know, I should be in medical school for 10 years and doing all this kind of stuff for that kind of salary that I can potentially earn. But if somebody's willing to work hard and just, as you said, follow the process, trust the process, you can earn money that you wouldn't even imagine you could earn.
Well, that brings me on to something I wanted to sort of share now, and this is quite incredible, and probably the best result someone's had in 6 months. So I just want to share it. Obviously, we've already presented you with this, but this is your certificate for the 40K club, which is obviously given to people that have earned £40,000 in personal commission or income in a month.
Yep.
And at the end of this month, you are earning over £40,000, which is incredible. So bearing in mind, it's been from a completely standing start in a new town, in a new industry. And bearing in mind, it takes 3 months, or 4 months for the house to come on the market and to complete. So this is from a lot of your early work, but incredible achievement to be earning that sort of level in a month. So congratulations and well done. And I'm sure that will inspire other people and just proves what's possible. And even that's probably beyond your expectations, is it?
Yeah. As I said, I would have been happy to earn 30K in the first year just to provide and get my feet on the ground and explore Oxford, know a state agency, know what the hell I'm supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
But, that's 40K. That's from, 3 or 4 exchanges, and there's 17 I've got out there. So there's another 13, 14 to come. So you can see if that's from 3 or 4, what can come from the other 13 or 14, plus all the others that are hopefully out there for the rest of this year alone. So, I mean, when I was presented that the other day at the conference, I mean, the money's great, obviously, and I've worked hard and I need that money because I've got to support my family. But standing up there and getting that, in front of all my peers and all the people that I've asked for help for, and again, they're a good bunch of people because everybody was clapping and cheering, and obviously seeing everybody else get their certificates. That was a proud moment, not just for the money, but I've still got my certificate. It's in my bedroom at home, and I sort of look at that every night and I think, good. Not just 40 grand, that's great. What can we spend it on? But that was a good achievement in itself.
Yeah.
Thinking that that's 40 grand, but could it be 150 grand this year? Could it be 200 grand this year? It's like, that's what I mean. The possibilities are endless. And if somebody with no experience can get that, then anyone can do it.
I think in the estate agency industry in the UK, where the typical agent is an employee, they'd be happy with £40,000 a year as an income. You've smashed that that's a 1 month in your first 6 months as well. I see you earning significantly more in the future. What would be your goal and what you believe is now possible for you to earn in a year? Not necessarily the next 12 months, but what would be your ultimate goal of what you want to earn in a year?
I think when I saw your advert of you can earn 100K plus, that drew me in because I was on that kind of money in the US, but it took years to get to that point. I was on probably $20,000 in the second year, so I was on nothing. So I thought that'd be a nice point. But I remember when I spoke to you initially, you almost said, don't come into this if you want to earn less than 80K or 100K. This should be your target, and then you should fly beyond that. So I've almost had in my head now that 30, 40K, great certificates, love it, but that's almost inspiration to say, right, if that can be done in 1 month, what's my next target? The 40K certificate's great. I've almost bypassed the 10, 20, 30, which I want because I want them on my wall.
Yeah.
But if you can do that, in my head, it's let's go for the 50K, let's go for the 60K.
Yeah.
And I know other agents have got the, 50K, the 70K that I saw the other day. And I was thinking, that's great, but that's better.
Yeah.
And it's doable, because if they can do it, I can do it. And if I can do it, anybody else can do it. So I would hope that I could do 150K in my first year. And that's 6 months in.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's with not earning anything in the first 6 months. But I would imagine next year, what do you think the potential is for you to earn next year? Or
I think with my experience now and the confidence I've got and the videos that I have, that's a massive tool to help me get more listings. But in my heart of hearts, if I wasn't earning in the next year or two 200 to 300,000 a year, I'd be not disappointed, but because that's achievable. And on my first few listings, I did think, is this an accident? Is this, is this a fluke? But then, I got to 10 listings, and I think I even said to you, my absolute goal was to get 10 listings in the first 6 months. And I'm at 6.5 months and there's 17 listings. So it's like, it's not an accident, and I'm working for it, but there is the potential of earning crazy money, I think, but you've got to work for it.
Yeah. And I think as time goes on, the content you put out there and the recommendations or the case studies, there'll be more and more people coming to you. You've had to work hard to generate this business and to get these results. But as time goes on, there'll be more people coming to you because they've seen your results. So, yeah, it's inspirational. Is there anything that you would sort of say to anyone who's sort of thinking, about they're maybe employed as an estate agent at the moment, or maybe in a completely different industry, thinking, I wonder whether I could be an estate agent? What would your advice be? What would you say to them?
My advice would be, don't not be an estate agent because of what you think estate agents are like. Because I know what certain people like yourself, you're trying to change the way people feel about estate agents. And even I am only 6 months in, because I don't want to walk into a door or somebody call me up, come and value my house statement. And they almost talk down to you because you're just an estate agent.
Yeah.
But I would like to change the perception of estate agents, because as you said, in the US, they're highly thought of. And that's what I want to be thought of. And that's what you'd want estate agents. And I think the industry doesn't deserve 1% fees, because if you charge them 1%, you're going to get a 1% service. In America, it's 6%. That's what I'm used to, 6%.
Yeah.
So over here, it's 2.5 is thought of as really high.
Yeah.
But for what we do and the amount we put into it, it should be the 5-6% easily. Yeah. So what was your question again? So I've just gone off then.
So any advice to someone who's not in a estate agency or an estate agent in an employed role, thinking of maybe taking the plunge? I say that, but it's a big step to effectively running your own estate agency business on a self-employed basis. What advice would you give them, or tips, or if they're not sure about it? Could you? I mean, you were in that position. You went through all those feelings. They could probably relate to some of the feelings you went through. So, what would you say would help them in making their decision? Or
I would say, if you've always wanted to own your own business, this is a great way of doing it, but having a good support network behind you, which is what going into business you sometimes don't have. You've got to kind of jump in. Yeah. If you're an estate agent and you're kind of happy of earning 30, 40 grand, but you're working hard, some of these estate agents are on that money, are probably working as hard as I am, maybe harder. So I think, take the plunge. Life is way too short to be sitting in an office and earning that kind of money if you're not happy. There's a lot of people, 30, 40 grand's good amount of money. Yeah. And you can have a happy life. And some of the happiest, nicest people I've ever met in my life are on very minimal money. But if you want to be successful, if you want to take it to the next step, if you want to have your own business, this is a good model, because as I said, you're in charge of how much money you earn. If I want to earn £200,000 a year, I know I can do it. I know I can do it by just following the process, using social media, working my backside off. But I think if you're an estate agent and you want to take it to the next level, do it. If you're not an estate agent, I'm the biggest advocate of it, because I'm not an estate agent with no experience. I didn't really know any estate agents until my buddy in America. There's actually nothing stopping anybody from doing it, as long as you've got certain personality traits. And I know from my colleagues that I work with in Oxford, they're completely different to me, but they still earn great money. They're still listing 3, 4, 5 million pound houses. Yeah. So you don't have to necessarily be young and social media, crazy. Like, well, I'm not even young, I'm 36 now, but I'm very driven on social media. But if you're very, one of my colleagues in Oxford, he's very numbers and facts and stats, and he does very, very well because he still gives that service. He still works very hard, and we're completely opposite ends of the spectrum. So you don't have to be just like me to be able to be successful in the industry. I think you've just got to have that ability of working hard and pushing.
Yeah. And you said, about the support network, and that's what I'm here for. The whole purpose of our business is to provide our partner agents with all the tools, the support, the help that they need to be successful, earn a great income and achieve their goals. And nothing gives me more satisfaction than seeing people like you come in and achieve amazing results, and a lot of that credit is down to you. And all I want to do is help you achieve your goals. I can help you and point in the right direction, but ultimately you've got to listen and learn and implement. But, this isn't for everybody, but for the people who are keen to learn and want to work hard, the results are phenomenal, and I just want to say congratulations on a fantastic achievement. Thanks for sharing your journey with us today and telling us how it's been. There may be people who want to reach out to you because in the same way you probably spoke to other people that were self-employed and you thought, well, what's it really like? Obviously, they can perhaps follow you on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, and reach out to you. But it is one of the things you mentioned is about that support network. I have to say, everyone who's in your position, that's self-employed, they are all there to help each other, to give the advice, the training, you've only got to put into the WhatsApp group, I've got a question, or ring someone, and they want to help. It's a lovely culture and a lovely environment. Unlike, maybe some offices maybe have, it's a bit of a competition and backstabbing and or people trying to get one over or take credit for stuff. This really is it sounds a bit of a cliche, but everyone cares about each other. They want to share best practice, help each other. And it's almost like we all win, we all benefit. You get great results, and then, Tristan or Guy, they benefit from that, and they'll get a listing and sell that, and you'll benefit from them. So it really is a good environment working together and help each other. And I think in the same way that other people have helped you, you've equally helped other people. Everyone's got their own strengths. And so I'm really, really pleased with what you've done and what you've achieved. And thank you very much for just sharing your journey today. And if people want to reach out to you, can they just message you? And
yeah, they're more than welcome. Because as I started, that's what I did. I reached out to you, Terry, Guy, Marie. The list is endless, but that's what I learned from the conference the other day. Everybody is there to help, and now people are asking me, "Can you help me with my videos? What should I do for the intro? And I'm thinking, I'm now in a position to give people advice. It feels wrong. It does feel wrong because I feel so new to the industry. Yeah. But it's a massive compliment. But the people around, and I'm not used to being from a corporate background or having meetings or functions and all this kind of thing. It's just but as you said, the core values and the team spirit at Fine & Country is, I've never experienced anything like it before. And Newman's, even the people I've spoken to there, like Brendan and Matt, good guys, always happy to advise and help me in any way. So it's just a good bunch of people. So I don't know if I would have had this success if I was with another estate agency, if I joined one of the other big names. Yeah. But that's why the self-employed model is good, because you're not competing with anybody. Yeah. You're working together for the same purpose. And if there's a ton of listings, Newman's and Fine & Country nationwide, that's good for me. It's good for everybody. If the boards are everywhere, then it will make people reach out to us. So everything has a knock-on effect. But if anybody wants to reach out, anything sort of social media-wise, video-wise, always happy to help. Anything estate agency-wise, there's probably better people to ask. But anything, I'm always available if anybody needs help anytime.
Brilliant. And what I'd like to do is after this is have another chat about how you achieve these results. What did you do? How did you generate the business, the market appraisals? How did you get how did you win the listings? You're charging good fees, you know, where other agents are charging 1%, you're getting 2%. So it'd be great if you're happy to share that. We could do that in the next episode, and I'm sure people will be fascinated and interested to learn from you. So,
no problem.
Great. Thank you very much for your time.
No
really
worries.
appreciate it, and we'll chat again very shortly.
Okay.
Thank you. Bye. So I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you'd like more information about becoming a self-employed estate agent, I will add a link in the description. I look forward to seeing you in the next episode.